and it's all about innovation. I'm inside Boss 27. This is a state-of-the-art facility just outside of Boston, and with me now...
We have to go on an internship to find jobs. It's very competitive and we might not get any during our studies.
So there are multiple internship programs.
How do you recommend students and researchers to network effectively to expand their connections within the...
I would also encourage you to look for those opportunities to gain hands-on experience.
Through LinkedIn and try to connect with people. The issue that some of them face is that they just don't know how to start the conversation.
That's a very interesting question. I was talking to a colleague about this, a couple of weeks ago, and I was thinking, I think there's no way AI is going to replace the creativity of researchers.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the Talks in Tech Spring 2024 seminar series. I'm Leila Amonzadeh, your host, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. Our mission is clear: to bridge the gap between academia and industry, accelerating the advancement of technology so that innovations like robots, autonomous vehicles, and AI solutions become an integral part of our daily lives. Before we dive into today's seminar, I'd like to kick things off with a question for our audience. What do you believe is the most significant challenge in leveraging data to optimize resources in the fields of AI and robotics? Feel free to share your thoughts in the chat. Today, we have the privilege of hosting another brilliant mind in the tech industry, none other than Zyad Jebbari. Zyad is not just a tech leader, he's a visionary with a passion for innovation. With a background spanning data, machine learning, AI, and robotics, Zyad thrives in dynamic, fast-paced environments where he spearheads the development of groundbreaking products and fosters collaboration across diverse teams. From his tenure at Amazon to his current role as a technical program manager, lead, and chief of staff at Google, Zyad has left an incredible impact on the industry. Today, Zyad will enlighten us with his expertise on the topic of case studies on how to leverage data to optimize for resources in the age of robotics and AI. This promises to be an insightful exploration into the intersection of data, technology, and efficiency. I, for one, am eager to learn from his wealth of knowledge and experience. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Zyad Jebbari. Zyad, the floor is yours.
Thank you for this opportunity, Leila. I really appreciate it.
Sure, yes, my pleasure.
And I hope you find this session interesting. I want to make it as interactive as possible, so feel free. I mean, if you have questions during the presentation or in the Q&A session, feel free to raise your hand and ask clarifying questions. All right, so let's get started. So I think this first presentation that's gonna last around 10-15 minutes. It's gonna be focused on how we can leverage data and AI in today's world, and specifically a topic of interest, which is related to robotics. So the first piece, I think AI and ML is a buzzword. But instead, for multiple companies or startups or products to leverage that, you need best-in-class data infrastructure that you can leverage as an input. So some of the things that we've been doing, or that I've been doing in my past experience, whether it was at Amazon or at Google, that was first of all, getting the data that is siloed in terms of multiple systems, whether they're program management systems, whether they're IoT systems, getting data from sensors and so on. And then, adding some magic to it to automate that consolidation. So you can have a 360 view of all the data that you have. So that's the first piece. The second piece is being able to make this data speak and gain some analytics. I'm going to give you an example. So imagine you have the CEO of Google or Amazon who wants to talk to the CEO of Spotify and wants to understand, what are the trend, what is the trade balance that Google has with their top partners, so that they can identify potential opportunities of collaboration, other opportunities in terms of cross-sell or value engineering. This is another value add that the data can allow you to unlock. And then finally, you can leverage ML, like in this process of getting the data consolidated and having the analytics. Leveraging ML to automate these processes. So some of the things that I'm gonna be talking about is related to the field of master data management. So for example, say you wanna have we're taking the same use case that I mentioned before. You have Spotify. Spotify has multiple subsidiaries in multiple systems. Microsoft just bought Blizzard, and you want to know what is your consolidated relationship and contacts with Microsoft. You need to inject some sort of automation so that we can recognize that Blizzard is actually part of Microsoft. So you can do that in the past era. You could do that by having some rules, doing some research on the internet, and this was very manual and error prone. But with AI and the enrichment of public data sources and so on, this is something that became way more straightforward, and you can automate pretty easily. So in terms of the different bricks that I think you might be familiar with in terms of data, so you have all on the left hand side, you have all of these data sources that are siloed, that are owned by multiple systems, multiple teams that come from multiple origins. So you ingest them, and the first piece of your data infrastructure is what I call the enterprise data hub, meaning those entities that are important to you, whether it's company, supplier, types of robots, headcount, and so on. Projects, programs that you need to have a single source of truth and a golden record. And there are two pieces to it. One is putting together the right governance, and processes, so that people understand who owns the data, who are the people who are custodians of this data, and then putting together the right permissions and access to it. Of that data, which we call the enterprise data foundation. So once you have those golden entities stored in the KPIs that are important to your leadership or your operations, so that they can make actionable decisions. And then finally, the third piece is what is related to kind of the insights and those recommendations that you would deliver to either your customers or make decisions for your product. And we try to make it as self-serve as possible. There are multiple ways you can access that data directly through a UI or a dashboard or a product that you're building, through tables, more and more, even within companies. What we're trying to put together is a data marketplace that identifies the right, what the right pieces of data that you collect, then who has access to it, and so on. And then you can easily connect to it via APIs I think Amazon was one of the first early adopter or believers of the API type of or microservices type of architecture, where you could, or a data engineering team could connect to those multiple data sources so that they can leverage them. And there's always, at the bottom, this this horizontals that are always there in terms of data security, privacy, especially with the new kind of like requirements or considerations in terms of AI and the data enhancements in terms of machine learning. And with all of that, you have a happy user at the end of the journey, hopefully. So we talked about the data piece, and then once you have the data in the right shape, right format, enhanced, and so on, there are a bunch of things that we can do within the company to unlock the power of this data. I think I mentioned earlier, the automation of manual processes that used to take way too long. So that's what we call AI ops, or robotic process automation, where you're going to be able to identify, issues ahead of time, leveraging some statistics and control charts, detecting those alerts, sending alerts, so that your system doesn't go down, and so you can optimize your uptime. The AI for data is related to what I mentioned: AI for master data management, identify whenever there are data quality issues with your data, and you can also gain some insights in terms of customer satisfaction. One of the projects that I worked on was related to analyze millions and millions of open text comments, and then which would take maybe 3 months for analysts to read through all of these comments. With AI, with these new NLP models, what you can do is leverage, either ChatGPT models, Gemini models, BERT models, and then identify clusters of common themes, summarize them for your leadership, and take actionable decision based on that. And then finally, I think what has been relatively in the news in the past few months with OpenAI emerging is having those natural conversational skills to answer questions whenever you have those, specifically with ChatGPT, and then also potentially having chatbots that would help your support people who are supporting your business to answer questions that are relatively straightforward. So I think before diving a little bit deeper into this use case or case study for robotics, I wanted to show you a video of what Amazon is doing right now. So this is a public video from, I think, CBS or CNN. No IP infringement, hopefully. So.
From robots to artificial intelligence, Amazon says it's revolutionizing the way consumers get their orders. It comes as e-commerce sales are predicted to grow at least 10% this holiday season, reaching $278 billion, according to Deloitte. Amazon alone estimated to deliver 13.5 million parcels each day.
And it's all about innovation. I'm inside Boss 27. This is a state-of-the-art facility just outside of Boston. And with me now is Amazon's chief technologist for robotics, Ty Brady. Ty, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So this is the first time the public will see some of the new technology you are rolling out for the holidays. What happens in a lab like this?
We are reimagining the future of robotics so that you can do your holiday shopping even better.
Today, Amazon launches Sequoia, its brand new robotic system in Houston. The company says it's capable of stocking merchandise 75% more quickly and delivering your orders 25% faster.
What was the problem you were trying to solve with Sequoia?
We want to offer a wider selection for our customers. We want to do that in a very efficient manner so they can pass on a low cost to our customers.
Brady says Sequoia also makes it safer for employees, reducing the number of accidents and repetitive stress injuries.
You don't have to get on a ladder, you don't have to bend down on your knees, you don't have to reach up really high.
They're able to bring these totes from the warehouse to a workstation like this, where I met up with David Guerin, who helped design and build Sequoia.
A machine has gotten this item out of the warehouse, brought it over here, and now what happens?
Now the associate finds the item that's up on the screen. So we take it out.
This is a yellow phone case?
We scan it.
Okay.
We put it in a tote to be sent to another part of the building for packaging. We let the system know it's in there, and then this will cycle through and deliver us another tote to pick something else out of.
And just how do those towers move around? Meet Hercules. Today is graduation day. The finished robots form a line and drive themselves onto their own shipping pallets, where they'll head off to work at fulfillment centers around the world. Amazon is also introducing Digit. This new bipedal robot can grab and move orders in warehouse spaces not designed for humans.
So I think something a lot of people are curious about is what happens between the time they click buy now and the product arrives at their doorstep. You're going to walk me through that.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm going to buy what is a bestseller on Amazon right now.
All right, very good.
The Instant Pot. It's going to be hot this holiday too.
Be hot, right on your phone, ready to go.
Okay, I'm going to add it to my cart.
By the time you did that,
Yeah.
I've sourced every Instant Pot inside our network to figure out what's the best way to bring that to your house.
The system found my Instant Pot at a fulfillment center in Penns Grove, New Jersey. From there, it was driven to Carteret, New Jersey, where it was boxed, labeled, and loaded onto another truck, headed for a distribution center in the Bronx. That's where the delivery van picked it up and dropped it off the next day at 6:48 p.m. to me.
Welcome to my office.
The company also has more than 10,000 Rivian electric vans across the U.S. to reduce its environmental impact. Branson Ramirez drives one.
I can do about 150 stops, maybe 250 to 300 packages.
New technology evolving to get us what we want faster and more sustainably this holiday season.
All right, so I hope you got,
From robots to
a glimpse of what I call the Amazon magic. So these systems that you have, those warehouses, including the transportation systems, sourcing the best item that you have to optimize for the delivery time, for the cost, and environmental impact, are incredibly complex systems. In just one warehouse, you'll have probably 4,000, 5,000 robots that are interacting with each other, with multiple sensors and so on. So here's where the value of AI and many use cases come into place, is leveraging the data that you're getting from those sensors so that you can predict, for example, when a few robots are gonna break down ahead of time. I think you can imagine that if you cannot deliver orders for an hour, that's a huge impact in terms of sales for Amazon. This is definitely something that they don't want to face. So with AI, you can and ML and training your algorithm, you can predict when such a problem would arise, and then have some risk mitigation plans in place. Another use case is even in those warehouses, you want to predict what is the lead time for that robot to come. Is it going to be 10 seconds? Is it going to be 15 seconds, 20 seconds? And you want to optimize this. So we're using also ML algorithm to predict that time ahead of time, which can greatly improve your productivity. You can also be able to optimize your supply chain inventory by knowing what are the products that are in demand during the Black Friday period, for example, and then order ahead of time so that you can have that in stock. And then the other piece I think that you've seen is that the trucking that are for now not autonomous yet, but a few companies are working on getting some autonomous vehicles to deliver these without having multiple humans in place. There are very strict regulations in terms of how long a truck driver can drive. So that's gonna solve for that. And then finally, I think you've been hearing Ty saying this is that with improved safety, improved security, better work conditions, there is no associate that I've seen in one of the warehouses that told me, Zyad, I don't like working with robots. Everyone loves working with robots in those automated warehouses. I think this is one of the misconceptions that I want to take on. People are working with these digit humanoids. I think they really like it, and it's improving their working conditions. I'm going to give you just one piece of data. There is that in warehouses where you don't have such automation, people would walk 12, 14 miles a day, while when working in automated warehouses, they would only walk 2 miles a day, and that their performance and the productivity of the entire system would go up. And this is just an example of kind of like an infrastructure of how you can collect this data. This is based on AWS products. So you take the data, you collect it, you ingest it with all these multiple sensors. For some, you need to store it, leveraging S3, for example. And then with Kinesis and DynamoDB, which are near real-time systems that are collecting this data, you can derive insights, analytics. On top of that, on the right-hand side, you'll see some of the ML services that Amazon has, which is Amazon SageMaker, and that are the ones that are gonna give you those predictive analytics in terms of when a system will fail, identify maybe a few systems that are failing in multiple warehouses, so you can reach out to your vendors or suppliers and work on a better solution for the future. So that's for my presentation, and maybe we can go to your questions later.
All right. Thank you so much, Zyad, for that enlightening presentation. It's very impressive how the use of data has impacted our world just through Amazon, let alone the other companies and everything that's happening around the world. Cool. So, yeah, that was such an enlightening presentation, and your expertise and insights into this topic have been truly eye-opening for myself, and I'm sure that it is the same for the audience as well. Now, I'd like to delve into your background and expertise and seek your advice, basically. Are you ready to dive into the interview segment?
I'm not sure, but yeah, let's go.
All right. So give me a second to set us correctly on YouTube. All right. Now it is much better. Cool. So let's continue. So let's start by delving into your educational background and career journey. Can you provide a brief overview of your educational background and particularly the transition from studying applied math to your current role as a technical program manager lead at Google and your previous experience at Amazon?
Yep. So I'm originally from Morocco. Born and raised there. I did my engineering school in France. And then I started my career in investment banking just because my brother did that, and multiple friends did that as well. I liked it, but not so much. So I wanted to explore new areas. So I went to grad school in Boston. Loved it over there. But probably the best 2 years of my life. I wanted to stay a little bit longer to do a PhD. They told me, Ziad, you're not that smart, so go find a job. So, I joined Amazon Robotics, and I just loved, the tech industry as a whole. Amazing colleagues, breakthrough technologies and very entrepreneurial spirit, where you can test, experiment a bunch of things. Um, so I initially started as a data engineer, but quickly got involved in some of the biggest programs that we had at Amazon, and I loved the bird's eye view that they provided in terms of collaboration with the entire company, um, being able to lead programs and so on. And this is how I directed my career, and then followed followed with Google for the past 5 years.
Awesome. That's honestly quite inspiring. So I'd love to learn more about how your educational background like influenced your career and basically just knowing specifically how did your background in applied math and systems engineering shape your career today? So what motivated you to pursue an MBA from MIT and how has it contributed to your professional growth?
Yeah, so as I mentioned to you, Leila, I think I think investment banking was really not for me. So I wanted to explore new industries, and not only I think as engineers or researchers or computer scientists, we have the hard skills, but the idea of an MBA is also to be able to learn soft skills, how to manage teams, projects, and so on. So I feel like I think the case study approach that you get in an MBA is something that is very valuable, because you get to work on tangible use cases, discuss ideas, um, and opinions, and so on. And it's also, life is not always black or white. It's not a 0-1 bit. So there are nuances of gray. So this is where you also kind of learn how to, take into account some of the requirements, some of the external conditions, having a framework that you can apply, and have also some kind of like options that you can consider, uh, and get consensus too, because you're not alone. Whether you are the one who's convincing other people to take your recommendations, or people are convincing you to do that, you need to learn also this kind of like communication skills, and that's very helpful in the real world.
That's true. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So at the end of the day, MBA actually helped you a lot. Even though like maybe it didn't go through like for your initial get but at the end of the day it was helpful. All right. So that's very interesting. Let's move on to your current role, your role as a technical program manager lead at Google. It sounds multifaceted and challenging, and I'm curious to hear more about your day-to-day tasks and the skills that are required to excel in such a dynamic role.
So I think it applies to all roles in tech. Specifically, I think maybe if you're talking about the TPM role, or a product manager role, or something equivalent, there is no similar day. I think you're gonna always have different challenges to solve, that you don't necessarily you didn't plan for the previous day. But I mean, just to answer your questions, probably what my role entitles is, so in terms of interactions that I have, is usually when you have a program or a product that you want to launch, you're gonna have a product manager who's gonna come up with the vision. What are the success criteria? What are we trying to achieve for the business? Then they're gonna go and meet with the engineering lead or the engineering manager and the TPM to make sure that we have the right technical options or technical architecture in place, and decide on when to deliver that. Um, uh, and you have a plan, but plans are always wrong. So you also have mitigation plans put in place, solve for challenges, make some trade-offs in terms of uh, we wanted to use this technical design or this system design, but it's not at par with our criteria in terms of latency or so on. So you have to make those trade-offs and then be able to switch back and forth and be relatively nimble. Um, and then either reduce scope, um, or have some additional resources that can work on this project and so on. It's also it's a people management role. Influence is very important. So in my current role, I manage a team of 60 engineers, but none of them report to me. So you have to be able to convince them to do the right work, put some structure, listen to them, what is best for them to increase the velocity and also make them excited about the project or the program. It's not just about writing code. It's much more than that. And I think basically these are some of the characteristics of what the TPM role involves.
It sounds really challenging, but exciting at the same time. So so let's shift our focus to your experience working at different large companies. I'm eager to know like your insights on the unique aspects of each company that you worked on and how they've influenced your professional growth. So do you find significant differences between working at various large companies?
There are. There are. I've been working a lot, so I think my opinion might be a little bit biased. But I'll tell you what. So Amazon, I feel like the leadership principles are very, very, very important, and they dictate like probably every decision that you make on a day-to-day basis. Those principles are related to customer obsession, bias for action, being frugal, thinking big. So I'd say that Amazon, despite its size, is still very, very, very entrepreneurial. They have this concept of the two pizza team, where any development team you should be able to feed the engineers with two pizzas every day.
Yeah.
So that makes it very entrepreneur, very nimble. And they have this concept of also the two-way door decisions. So you try to make you always how do you say make decisions with incomplete information, and you can't be 100% sure. So try to make your best to do the right thing, but also leave the door open if something comes up or something your hypothesis doesn't materialize, to go back to the whiteboard and then brainstorm another solution. That's for Amazon. Google is, I'd say, more scientific in that sense,
Interesting term.
or maybe more research oriented, I would say, where you put a lot of effort upstream to make the right system design or code. Um, both companies impact a lot of users. Amazon with the e-commerce, or AWS, it's billions of people. Google with the search, YouTube that you're using right now, it's billions of users.
Mhm.
So we try to um, impact, try to be helpful and be impacting the customers as best as we can and putting a lot of thoughts into it. And then the other difference I would say is, by design, Amazon, with these two pizza teams, you can find multiple teams working on the same problem, and the best solution would win. And then the other people would, or the other teams would find something else to do. Google, by design, wants to avoid that duplicative effort. So there is only one team that will work on one specific problem and try to find the best solution to it. So
Mhm.
my these are my 2 cents for these two companies. But this only engages me, and I don't have other experiences with other big tech companies.
Oh no, for sure. Actually, these two are two of the largest companies. And when you talk about the differences, I at least get it because like the pace in two different environments, it's just different based on like the technology that they are developing. So now that we've explored the differences, let's just move on to the essential skills that are required for students that are aspiring to enter the tech industry, particularly into roles that are similar to yours. So I wanted to see, based on your experiences, what skills do you believe are crucial for students, especially those aiming for entry-level positions?
So I'd say that for entry level positions, I think what is very important is to have those hard skills in terms of robotics, AI, data, because this is what we're gonna be looking for. At least in the first few years of your career.
Mhm.
But then you're gonna be developing your soft skills by working with multiple programs, projects. Um, and then I think the other thing that I want to emphasize is to be very curious, open-minded, and be listening to what the other teams are doing. Maybe something that one of your colleague, even if he's he's joined the company, or he or she joined the company at the same time as you, are implementing a different solution. Maybe that could be applied to your projects as well. So just be creative, be open-minded, and there are also some programs within the companies where you can get a tutor or mentor that is going to be dedicating time to you, so that you can navigate the intricacies of how the company works. So take advantage of those opportunities.
Mhm. So other than that, how can students effectively like acquire these skills? And do you recommend any specific resources or learning pathways like before joining the workforce?
Um, I'd say, I mean, your classes are the most important. The classes
Yeah.
that you're taking at university.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, there are also, things that you can do outside, even in the university, taking part of hackathons that are being organized on campus.
Mhm.
There are some robotics competitions that I know are pretty famous, that can, help you think outside of the box, have that, project type of collaboration that you can acquire.
Mhm.
And get hands-on experience. I know at my time at MIT, we had a center of entrepreneurship as well. It was called the MIT Trust Center, Martin Trust Center, and you could go there any time of the day. There are startups that are looking for people who can help them, accelerate their roadmap and their startup. So I would also encourage you to look for those opportunities
Mhm.
to gain hands-on experience.
Mhm. Yeah, those are great recommendations. Now, like, do you believe that the individuals should have specific degrees to enhance their pathways in the industry? Because you mentioned that, like, your classes are also something that you should like rely on for gaining those skill sets. For example, is it necessary for them to have a degree in robotics to be robotics engineers, or a PhD in computer science to work in data science positions? What advice do you have for students and professionals looking to enter or like transition even between the industries, especially in fields like AI and robotics?
Short answer is no. I think it's a plus. That's always important, but I don't have a degree in robotics. I think tech companies are really mostly interested uh, in you and how you reason, how you react to unexpected situations, your general cognitive ability. This is what is very important to them. Of course, I mean, if you have a PhD in robotics, it's gonna help build robots. But you can always learn this kind of like skills with online classes or
Mhm.
so I'd say no, but I think that people are really interested in you as a person.
That's true, actually. Yeah, I resonate with that. So setting the right foundation is essential for long-term success in the tech industry. And of course, like, your insights are providing valuable guidance for aspiring professionals. Now, are there any mistakes or misconceptions that you commonly see among early career professionals that you would advise them to avoid?
Um, I think, to be honest, I think I'm not in the right place to tell you what are the mistakes not to take. I probably have made a lot. I think just my advice is to be curious and learn as much as possible. Your first position or that you're gonna have, even in an internship,
Mhm.
um, is is what it is. Your first internship or your first project. So um, even if it's not the thing that you've been aspiring to. Uh, Try to learn as much as possible. And then maybe the second piece that I learned a little bit down the road is prioritization. I think there is no shortage of interesting projects in any of the tech companies that I know.
Mhm.
Uh, your most important resource is your time.
Mhm.
So try to prioritize your time accordingly to
Mhm.
what you want to try to achieve. And then the other projects are the icing on the cake.
Mhm. That's true. Yeah. So, like, building upon that, let's just delve into developments and advancements in AI, robotics, and autonomous vehicles. So, I wanted to know if you have, like, if you can share any recent developments or advancements in AI, robotics, or autonomous vehicles that have caught your attention, and something that researchers can also benefit from uh, based on having like more meaningful impacts on the real world.
That's a very interesting question. I was talking to a colleague about this, a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
and I was thinking, I think there is no way AI is going to replace the creativity of researchers. But I think it's an accelerator.
Mhm.
Like maybe 10 years ago, you wanted to test a few hypotheses. It would take you a long, long time.
Mhm.
With the compute power that we have now, the amount of data that we have now, you can test multiple hypotheses in a very short period of time. So
Mhm.
that's, I think, reshaping this relationship with knowledge and embracing it,
Mhm.
not being scared of, is is something positive that I'm seeing for research.
Mm.
Another piece, I think, so AI algorithms might seem smart, but they are not that smart. So, because smart in the sense of creativity, I think this is the point that where a human will always be in the loop. Uh, some folks that I know, like in DeepMind, for example, at Google, are developing algorithms that replicate kind of like genetic mutation, where they would introduce like a change in the algorithm, so that you can, inject that creativity. But I think this is something that we should think about and monitor closely. I think that goes hand in hand with those ethical considerations um, with AI. I think AI is very powerful, but uh, we should be able to understand how the model works, what are the inputs, the outputs, and because you can easily, take some recommendation from ChatGPT as a truth, but the AI models don't know the truth. So it's also very important to understand the ins and out and be cognizant that maybe some of the general public doesn't know it, and guide them and evangelize this so that they get a good understanding of the implications.
Yeah, that totally, I understand what you're saying. And they are actually really great directions to take into research. So I wanted to ask you, how do you recommend students and researchers to network effectively to expand their connections within the industry? This is something that has been asked from us, like to mention it to you a lot, a lot. So yeah, do you have any advice for that?
I'd say like these initiatives, they're amazing for networking. With peers, but also with the practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another piece is, reach out to your alumni network. Uh, there is this, kind of like social closeness. Oh, I went to the same school as you, so I think you're gonna be able to build that connection very easily.
Mm-hmm.
Um, LinkedIn is also a great tool for this, if even if they are a
Yeah.
competitor.
Yeah.
And then finally, if you can do some internships,
Mm-hmm.
uh, work on your project, but it's also the opportunity for you to talk with other fellow interns, meet some other teams, and these are some of the long-lasting connections that you're gonna have, and that you're gonna be able to leverage also in your future life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been asked myself a lot, like how can I, like I've always told students to just like go, like my fellow students to go through LinkedIn and try to connect with people. The issue that some of them face is that they just don't know how to start the conversation. I personally believe that you can just talk to them, just say hi. And then let it go from there. And we're all the same, we're all same people. So I would say that just take it easy and go ahead with that.
Yeah, and you would be surprised that people have time to spare to talk about interesting topics. So just go.
Yeah.
This is a great advice for the community.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you for all your recommendations, Ziad, and for sharing your experiences. So, I guess let's transition to the Q&A session. We don't have much time left, and let's just delve into the questions that our audience have asked us. We'll begin by addressing the pre-submitted questions that our audience set in via our social media platforms and email channels. Following that, we'll open the floor to the live questions if we have that. But I encourage all attendees to take this opportunity to ask any questions they may have for Ziad. Whether it's about today's topic or any related areas of interest, we welcome your participation. So without further ado, let's kick off the Q&A session. So the first question mentions, how did you balance your academic studies with gaining practical experiences during your time as a student? And do you have any tips for time management?
Time management, I'm not so sure. But I think the best way to gain that practical experience is through internship for me. That was, I think, very, very helpful, very useful. And then also, uh, in grad school, at least, some companies are very, very interested in getting and tapping into the talent that university has. So they come up with projects that you can work on. Um, uh, so I think these are probably the best two options that I uh, I can indicate. Time management. Uh, Time management is prioritization. I think you should prioritize what is important to you, and then, but also take into account your health and your well-being. This is the best way to perform at your best.
So next we have this question. Do you think we have to go on an internship to find jobs? It's very competitive and we might not get any during our studies. I am very worried about this. This is what our audience has said.
You don't have to do internships, but I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's apparently being super competitive at this point. But yeah, I think it just, personally, I believe that it depends on how many you apply, and you have to just be as consistent as possible. At the end of the day, I mean, when you have more shots, then yeah, it's possible that one of them at least goes to the target.
Yes, the
Yeah.
law of large numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly. So how important is it for students to engage in research projects or collaborate with the faculty members during their undergraduate or graduate studies to find jobs easier in the tech industry?
That's a good question. I think I'm gonna answer the same question. So you have industry, some companies coming to to some professors, and they're asking them, hey, we want to collaborate with people. I think a specific example where one of my data science professor was working with a music company to understand what is the profile of their users, how they can optimize their lifetime value. And these are things that when I went to the interview, I shared with my interviewers, and they were impressed. So I think these kind of things to work on are very important.
Awesome. So I guess we don't have much time left. Let's just open the questions to audience. I think we actually discussed this, that we don't think it's going to happen to address all the questions. He received more than 100 questions, so we had to shortlist them and we still didn't go through them. So one of our audience is asking, I wonder what the recruiting process is like at Google. So is there any cool off period for internship interviews?
So there are multiple internship programs. I might, don't quote me on this, but when you want to apply, I think the best period is at the end of the year for regular summer internships. So there is a short period, I think October, November, where you apply, and then we try to match you with the right team. And there are also some off-site internship opportunities, maybe for fall. And I would assume that the process would start in Q1. But just go on the website, and you'll probably find the information there.
That's true. And another question that I think that it might be our last question that we can address. It says how we can mix up semiconductor chip design skill and machine learning and AI.
no answer to this. I'm not an expert.
Yeah,
So you left the hardest question for the end, right?
yeah, exactly. I guess personally, I'm not too much into chip design. Yeah, so I guess we can probably just like look into that and ask it from another, yeah, maybe from another person. And then just like one question, since we didn't have an answer to this one, is it possible for remote working for Amazon?
I don't work for them anymore. I think it really depends on the team.
Yeah.
It really depends on the team. If you're distributed, I think I assume that the guidance is hybrid. 3 weeks in the office, 2 weeks. Sorry, 3 days in the office, 2 days remote. But it really depends on the teams.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much, Zyad. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time left for the rest of the questions as our seminar time is almost over, actually 1 minute afterwards. So thank you to everyone who participated in today's seminar session and contributed to the insightful discussion. Your engagement and thoughtful questions have made this session very valuable. So I also want to extend a special thank you to Zyad for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. Your contribution have enriched our seminar and provided valuable insights into especially our topic and your presentation and later in the interview and the questions that you answered. So as a reminder, we'll have the recorded video like after the seminar on our YouTube channel, Talks in Tech. If you have any questions or would like to continue the conversation, please feel free to leave your questions in the comment section or connect with us on our social media. And again, I encourage everyone to take this opportunity to network with each other and feel free to share your LinkedIn account IDs in the chat and connect with fellow attendees who share similar interests or work in the related fields. And building connections within our community can lead to valuable opportunities and collaborations. And you can grow your network. You can also do that in our YouTube videos comment section later. And we encourage you to give us feedback on how you perceived this session and what you would like to see in our upcoming sessions. Thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you at our next seminar sessions.